really our catalyst in making the jump was that integration point between registration and fundraising.
So today we talked with Amanda Napolitano. She's the executive director of the DONNA Foundation, which experienced its 20th year this year. And they switched over to RunSignup for the first time for their key event, the DONNA Marathon. So Charnel and I spoke with Amanda today, and we got some really good information from her. Don't you think, Charnel?
Yes, and one of the best things that I heard from her was the reason for why they made the switch this year. It was really that inflection point of the integration between RunSignup and GiveSignup. I think from her mouth to our ears, she's even said the integration was key for them. They saw an immediate uptick in their fundraising. I think the specific number was 61% increase, just being able to integrate all of these pieces together. I love to hear her story between the use of RunSignup, GiveSignup, and TicketSignup for their full DONNA Marathon weekend, and everything was a big success for them. She really made everything sound easy.
Yeah, and it was very powerful because, they have, at the end of the day, you're trying to get registrants, right? So they had two goals of getting registrants for their event, but also fundraising. So from a registration standpoint, they had 5,000 registrants for their event and more than 10,000 spectators, I'm sure. And then their fundraising, they reached the fundraising goals of, they had $273,000 raised. So a very successful story. So stay tuned and hear from Amanda. Thank you, Amanda, for joining us today. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, about the DONNA Foundation? I know that you're the executive director of the DONNA Foundation, but maybe share with us a little bit about its purpose and in the DONNA Marathon and how that kind of is one of your key races and so forth.
You bet. Thanks for having me. So I'm Amanda Napolitano. I'm the executive director of the DONNA Foundation. The DONNA Foundation was formed 20 years ago this June. I cannot believe it's been 20 years by three-time breast cancer survivor Donna Deegan. At the time was the anchor of First Coast News here in Jacksonville, Florida, and really experienced her first diagnosis with breast cancer with the city of Jacksonville. They journeyed with her through her diagnosis, through all of her treatments. The cameras went into the treatment rooms, all the things. The loss of hair and just the whole journey with her. And so really the community got to know her breast cancer journey very well. When she was diagnosed for the second time, she really didn't want to take the community back through the process, right? And so she launched what we would call now a blog. She launched an online journal. And what she began to hear is from our community that we really had an issue with people being able to make ends meet while they were going through breast cancer treatment. She was hearing overwhelmingly, I'm so glad you're doing well and that you're progressing through your treatment. My issue is, I can't pay my rent. I can't pay my grocery bill. I can't, get transportation services to treatment. And Donna really felt compelled to do something about that. So in 2003, she launched the DONNA Foundation. Its purpose is to support the financial critical needs for breast cancer patients and their families while going through treatment. Donna is also a runner, marathoner, loves to put one foot in front of the other that we all do, right, for our mental health. I think the vast majority of people in this industry are runners too. And so she began to sell T-shirts at local runs, Run with Donna. And that's really how I got into the picture. At the time, my weekend warrior job was to coach people how to run marathons through the Jeff Galloway Training Organization. And, we had this idea of, well, why don't we train people to run marathons and raise money for the DONNA Foundation? And so Jeff Galloway approached Donna with the idea. She loved the idea. She went back to her news anchor chair and announced to the community that we were going to do this. And we had, nearly 100 people show up and raise $100,000 for the DONNA Foundation in the first year. We thought that's better than selling T-shirts. And so, from there, it was a trifecta of organizations that came together. It was the DONNA Foundation, of course, with DONNA. It was Jeff Galloway, America's Coach. Most of the industry knows who Jeff is, and sort of this nationwide reach of runners. And her oncologist and all of her doctors were at Mayo Clinic. That's where she was being treated. And so the question was asked, is there a national marathon for breast cancer? We're training people to run another local marathon here in Jacksonville, but is there a traditional 26.2 mile event for breast cancer? And the answer to that was no. So the next question obviously was, well, can we do this? Can we launch the only marathon for breast cancer right here in the city of Jacksonville? And if you've met Jeff Galloway, Donna Deegan, or Edith Perez from Mayo Clinic, you know that they're the most optimistic, hopeful people on the planet. And of course, their answer was, yes, of course we can. And so we did. And in 2008 was the inaugural national marathon to finish breast cancer. And so now we're in our 20th year of serving families living with breast cancer through the DONNA Foundation. We have served nearly 18,000 families. We have secured nearly $5 million in financial services and resources for those families. And we've contributed $3.3 million to breast cancer research, all while celebrating survivorship across this amazing race weekend, really race weekends, because now we have 3 signature road race events in addition to the marathon. And the marathon just completed its, it was our 16th, our Sweet 16. We just wrapped up here in 2023.
So you said that you're raising funds to help people that are challenged economically, that are going through breast cancer and so forth. What are the types of things that you're helping them with?
Right now, one of the biggest issues that we're seeing amongst the breast cancer community nationwide, the DONNA Care Line does serve patients all over the country now. We started here in Northeast Florida, but have since expanded nationwide, is really a housing crisis. A lot of us are, if you think about your own finances, a lot of us are pretty paycheck to paycheck. You're going to need your income in order to pay your rent, your mortgage. And for many patients, when they're diagnosed with breast cancer, there's an interruption of your ability to work. And so, if you're not getting that paycheck, you're struggling to pay your rent. And then that just is a compound problem, month after month, until you have people facing eviction and losing their homes. So that's one of the primary things that we work on with patients is, for example, negotiating with a mortgage company to have, payment deferrals, or negotiating with, the landlords to work with them on some, deferral payments or forgiveness of payments over a period of time. I mean, it really just depends on the specific situation, but that's some of the things that our team can work on for patients. Another issue that we see is transportation. If you can't get to treatment, you can't get treatment. Mm-hmm. And so there are a lot of programs around the country to, get the patient to where they need to be, and it's connecting them to those resources so that the patient understands, that those resources are available. And certainly medical costs. I mean, medical costs, on average are well up over $10,000 out of pocket for any kind of breast cancer treatment. So there are a lot of programs available to patients for medical copays, pharmaceutical copays. There's a number of resources that we can help people apply, work with hospitals to put patients on payment plans, those kinds of things. So if you'll notice, a lot of it is connecting, right? It's taking a patient and connecting them to resources that are out there. And this is the sort of front-facing case management work that we do. And then qualified patients, once we've sort of exhausted all of those connector points, we also have a grant program where we're actually helping a patient pay that utility bill that's due tomorrow.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So you're being their advocate and doing a lot more than the traditional, what you would think of that a race event or fundraiser does. So it's a huge,
really a foundation that has a signature event that is a marathon versus a marathon that has charity partners.
right. And that's the difference. Yeah. You know, this was your first year with RunSignup for registration, which was wonderful for our company to have the Donna Marathon on our platform. But can you share with us, you know, with other race directors that might be considering making the change to RunSignup, why did you switch to RunSignup? You know, what were the deciding factors with that?
Sure. For us, you know, the primary factor was we were looking for a registration system that had an integrated fundraising platform to where we could really see everything in one place. But more than that, from our end, as helpful and wonderful as that is, it's also from a user perspective, right? We didn't want to have the users have to click 10 times in order to choose to fundraise for the Donna Foundation. We wanted everything to be right at their fingertips, super easy. You know, I'm registering, yeah, I'll fundraise, and you're off to the races, so to speak. So that integration of RunSignup and GiveSignup really was the factor that led us to make the change.
What tools and features did you find most helpful from RunSignup for the Donna Marathon?
Specific to, you know, registration, as I mentioned, really our catalyst in making the jump was that integration point between you know, registration and fundraising. So it's hard for me to talk about one without the other.
Right.
You know, I think that in the lead up, it was certainly very user friendly on the back end to get everything set up. You know, it's always most race organizers, I would imagine, are like us and have a pretty limited staff. You know, you don't have a whole department that's sitting down and and helping you stand up registration website, because that's really what it is, right? We found the tool to be very user friendly. It was really a quick process to get everything ready to go, very intuitive. So I think it's the user-friendly components on the back end for the staff that I really enjoyed and appreciated, from, you know, just thinking about the race registration side of all of this. In terms of the website features of RunSignup, we learned during Donna Marathon weekend, right? We were using it to get familiar with what we could do with you know, presentment. You know, could we present all of the custom content areas that we wanted? Because we do have another very robust website, you know, breastcancermarathon.com, because that event there's so much more involved, right? It's a traditional marathon weekend, you know, 3 days with the 2-day expo and the 5K on Saturday and I mean, there's just a lot going on with that event. But for our other two signature events, our Donna Mother's Day 5K that will be held here in a few weeks in May, and our Donna at TPC 5K in October, we were looking for a website solution. The websites that we had stood up for those two events were ready for an upgrade, to be certain. And so the idea of being able just to sort of sunset that technology and get off some really old platforms and have, again, everything in one place. That's what we're doing. So our Mother's Day event is now using exclusively the RunSignup web features for its website. And I'm in the process of copying that event and using that as the template for the 5K that we'll do in October. And then we'll continue to really think about, you know, could RunSignup really be the host of the website even for breastcancermarathon.com over time? It'll just take a little time of thinking about it and looking at site maps and migration, you know, making sure we have all the information that everybody needs.
Yeah, because there's a lot with that, because you have 3 different types of courses, and you used RunSignup's technology for that. And what I mean by that is that you had the on-site traditional, you know, courses and multiple options with that. You also had a virtual option, and then you have the challenge event. And each of those really, you know, had served different purposes.
Yeah, I'm so glad you mentioned the challenge, because this is a really wonderful story. So, all of us now are very well versed in virtual races. That is how, if you're still sitting today in the race industry, you have embraced the concept of virtual racing. Thank you, pandemic. We've always offered a virtual opportunity for runners over the years, for breast cancer patients that might wake up, race morning and not feel well. We always wanted to give an opportunity to participate on their own and still earn their medal. We live in a very strong military town here in Jacksonville. There are 2 Navy bases here. And so we often have military deployments that impact their ability to come in person. So we've been using virtual races for a number of years. In fact, one of the super duper happy surprises of coming onto the RunSignup platform, Shelley, was getting to work with you again, because you and I worked together years and years ago for Race Joy and being able to use some of that technology. But anyway, what I'm getting to is that we've historically, prior to coming on to RunSignup, we were only able to offer the concept of go out and run a 5K all at once, and we'll book your time and we'll rank your time and score your time. But with RunSignup, we're now able to set up challenges where you can accumulate miles over time or accumulate all sorts of things. I mean, you can set it up to be a challenge for anything, swimming laps or, riding your bicycle, jumping jacks. I mean, whatever you choose to do, you can do that. And as we entered our 20th anniversary of the DONNA Foundation, one of the messages we really wanted to get out there is a lot of studies right now that are showing that, that exercise, especially during breast cancer treatment, is really important and helps with outcomes. In other words, it helps you live through your treatment of breast cancer if you can stay active and moving your body. And so we wanted to have some sort of event, some sort of strategy that would, have someone that maybe wouldn't even consider going to a website of breastcancermarathon.com, right? And consider biting off, even a 5K. So even though we have all sorts of training programs that get you off the couch and ready for a 5K, it just seemed like a little bit of an overwhelming message to many. So we brainstormed a challenge event that would parallel our ultra marathon. So we have an ultra marathon that happens DONNA Marathon weekend. That is a 110-mile run over 2 days. And they earn an ultra marathon belt buckle, and they are rock stars. In fact, we had our first breast cancer survivor finisher of that event this year, which is super exciting. There's, like 5 of them that do it, right? And we thought, could we emulate that and get people just moving their bodies every day? And so in Breast Cancer Awareness Month in October, we launched a mile a day challenge, a DONNA 110 mile a day challenge. And the idea was to just get people to move their bodies for a little bit every day and track it. And that if you did that, if you started in October and worked towards DONNA Marathon weekend, that by DONNA Marathon weekend, you would have accumulated 110 miles and thereby be an ultra marathoner. And we would grant you this, your ultra marathon belt buckle. And our goal was to track 20,000 miles as a collective DONNA community, and we exceeded that goal. We tracked about 21,000 miles over the campaign and had nearly 200 people participating. It was really fun to see. I have neighbors that did it, and I work from home. My windows are right behind me, and so I would see couples, just walking by my front doors, knowing that, oh my gosh, they're getting their mile in for the day. It was really important to us to be able to do that, and the platform allowed us to. So it was a big success.
So one of the things we had talked about last time too is that you, I'm kind of switching gears, but you all focus on the local runners too, and your local kind of repeat runners.
for race organizers that have a destination marathon event, like we do, at the beach, a lot of our strategies are to try to get people to come in from out of town and participate. But fundamentally, you have to have your local community coming out each and every year to have a successful race. So our locals really mean a lot to us. So gosh, years ago, well over 10 years ago, we launched a campaign called Locals Rule. And for a period of time in the early part of race registration, there's a discount for local residents to register as a part of our Locals Rule program. So the idea is that, these are people that are running each and every year with us. And so, we want to honor that with reduced registration fees. Yeah, it's been very successful.
Oh, could you share with others some of the registration pricing strategies that you used? We just talked about the local, but I know over time you did do some, early bird pricing and things. So if you could just share some examples of things that people could do.
I think that if you're a race director, that price increases work. If you're not doing price increases for your event, you really need to do price increases. You can watch, your registration, charts in RunSignup, do one of these. And it's like it happens the day before a price increase and the day before a price increase. So yeah, it's looking out over the course of your registration timeline and thinking through when are some really good times to implement these incremental price increases. And, it's not just to drive registration. It's also, aligned to the fact that hopefully runners understand by now, because we've been talking about it forever, is that, the later you register, the more expensive you are to the race organizers. We're having to make our medal orders months and months and months in advance. We're having to choose shirt sizes, months before the event. And so because most people wait until the last minute to register, it really is a guess. So if we can honor people that actually let us know they're coming early with the lower price increases, it's a great, I can't think of another way that you could do it.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about RaceJoy.
Well, I can't talk about RaceJoy without sharing the story of our lightning year. This was years ago, and I can't remember if it was the first year, the second year, maybe the third year. I don't remember. But we had a weather event. This is Florida. You tend to get some interesting thunderstorms that can roll through regardless of the time of year, and we had to deal with that. We had a weather system that we'd been tracking all morning with our public safety and command teams, and we had about, I would say, 150 runners still out on the course. It was late in the day, and there was a pretty dangerous cell that was approaching that had a lot of lightning. And so collectively, our command team made the decision that we needed to end the race. At the time, our course had a intracoastal waterway bridge at the end. And so that was what we were most concerned about, is that in a thunderstorm, these runners were going to need to come over this. You're basically standing on top of a bridge like a lightning rod. This is not a good plan. So, we had our emergency protocols in place, and part of that emergency protocol was to leverage RaceJoy for its messaging system. So we were able to message all of the runners on the course, as well as spectators who were watching, immediately to let them know this is what's happening. This is what you need to do. We deployed our buses from our relay event out to specified locations on the course, and we're able to get everyone safely, into the bus and back to the finish line to reunite with their family members. And really that having that RaceJoy app be so widely used by both runners and spectators at the time really helped us, make that process easy for people.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's one of our stories too that we share with people.
Yeah.
I remember that. The DONNA Marathon was actually one of the first events to use RaceJoy when it started. You were an early adopter of new technology, and we were very appreciative of that, James and I. We were the founders of Race Joy. So we were excited to be working with you again.
And now, back then, it makes me sound like we're all old and stuff, but at the time, you know, it wasn't necessarily an expectation of runners that you would have any sort of tracking event. I mean, it was still fairly new technology, and people were, you know, geeking out and thinking it was cool, but it wasn't. I mean, to me now, for marathon events, it's an expectation. You know, runners really expect the race to you know, provide some sort of way for them to know where their family members are on the course. So so yes, we absolutely continue to use Race Joy for that purpose. And now that the virtual platforms are also there, it makes it super easy for people who are not able to come to, you know, press a button on their phone, go out and run their race, and for the times just to automatically be captured and be submitted for results. It makes it super easy for our virtual participants as well.
Yeah, good, great. So you also use the Race Day Check-in app. And that's where Scott went out and helped you all with that. And so can you share kind of like the difference that you saw from, you know, previously your methodology for checking people in, and how it helped, and, you know, maybe things that you liked about it?
Sure. I mean, having technology that allows you to check people in is so helpful as an organizer, especially if you have a multi-day packet pickup environment. Because at the end of day one, you know how many people to expect on day two, because you're able to quickly see, okay, what percentage of the field have we already checked in? The other thing I appreciate about digital check-in is our public safety teams want to know how many people are going to be out on the course. And as most people know, you know, a certain percentage of your field is just not going to show up. So it's very helpful to give our public safety teams an accurate count. Well, we had X number of people check in, you know, for the 5K or for the marathon, so that they know how many people are going to be out on the roads, and giving them that accurate information is super helpful. It also makes the process so much faster for the runners. You know, we're not dealing with long lines, you know, of people trying to look up their number. And you know, I remember the days of having a whole wall of the expo just be printouts of everybody's name, and you're looking for your name, you know, and in this case, it's really, you know, scanning a QR code, assigning a bib, and you're on your way. It takes 3 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah. So you all used a combination of dynamic bib assignments plus pre-printed bibs. And can you elaborate on why you chose to use a combination approach?
Yeah. Yep. Sure. So dynamic bib assignment is, I mean, it is magical because you're not giving someone a bib unless they're showing up to get it. So you're not wasting chips, you're not wasting, you know, enormous orders of bibs that just sit on the tables. I mean, you know, you're literally, when they walk up to the event, at that point, you're making their bib assignment right there with a QR code. You know, you're like, okay, you know, assign the bib, and it's assigned, and you're off to the races. We do a combination because our runners love having their name. They love the vanity bibs. They love having their name on the bib. We also do a ton with our breast cancer survivors. In fact, Fitz Kohler, who is our announcer, just texted me just this moment as I was thinking about her, which is really weird. But she makes a big deal of our breast cancer survivors. And so they get a special vanity bib with their name on it, and it says survivor. So for folks that sign up in advance and meet a certain deadline of our bib order, we do make those assignments in advance so that the bibs can be personalized. So so at that point in the cutoff, from there, it's done dynamically on site based on who comes to pick up their packet. You know, I think, again, most of us are runners. If you're in this industry, you probably have experienced a road race yourself, and there's nothing worse than standing behind the person in front of you who has an issue with their registration, and you're standing there waiting for that person to, you know, resolve whatever it is before you can I just want my bib and my stuff, and I'm out of here. So so to make the lines very efficient, you know, packet pickup and bib pickup with the volunteers, it's truly check-in only. And if there's some type of change that needs to be made, we have a runner relations area where you can go and we can take care of you just in a different location. You know, and it's volunteers, right? You know, they're there and they're wonderful and amazing. But, you know, I also didn't want to give out a lot of iPads with 100 different things that you could do. And all of a sudden you've got the, you know, the teenage club that have gone on to social media and you've lost them. So we can lock those iPads down to where really the only thing you can do is assign a bib and check someone in and move along.
All right, Amanda, I have some questions for you about fundraising. You said that the connection point between RunSignup and GiveSignup was really kind of the main reason that you guys made the switch. So can you tell me a little bit more about the different ways in which supporters were able to fundraise with this through this event?
Sure. So historically, we've had, I'll use the word disparate systems, right? We've had two different systems that were in place for registration and fundraising. So our participants would have to register in one place for the race and then actually take some steps to register in a whole nother place for fundraising. And so by integrating those two things together, we were able to increase the number of fundraisers for this event by 61% over last year. I mean, that's significant. I mean, you talk about wanting to, you know, encourage and convert, you know, a runner to a fundraiser, to someone that's advocating for the DONNA Foundation in the community and raising funds. And by making it easy, and it's not just about choosing, yes, I want to fundraise. It's the tools that they get from there that are so easy to add their photos, that are beautiful on their individual landing pages. They're able to share their stories, because fundamentally, you know, when you talk about a peer-to-peer fundraising program, people are not giving to the DONNA Foundation, really. They're giving to you. They're giving to your why and your story. And so, you know, by giving them these tools that are super easy to use, that can integrate with, you know, with Facebook, you know, you're able to amplify their stories and therefore, you know, raise more money. So, you know, we raised, again, you know, 61% more fundraisers who chose to raise. We doubled the number of donors that we had to the organization just for DONNA Marathon Weekend, the DONNA Marathon Weekend campaign. And then we were also able to lift runners who chose to give as a part of their registration. So, you know, for many people, if they're not wanting to fundraise, they certainly want to help the DONNA Foundation. And so by, you know, making it super easy to make a donation as a part of their registration flow, you know, we saw a lift in the runners who gave. So very happy with the results of our year for this year's DONNA Marathon Weekend. And yeah, it worked.
That's great to hear. Yeah, you touched on a lot of things there. So I'm going to take it apart a little bit. First, I want to kind of start with you were able to kind of, not just on the back end, it sounds like seamless, easy to use. You're able to turn on and off. Just you touch on a lot of different capabilities that you guys were able to leverage. But let's start with kind of the cover page and on your website. What I loved kind of just going to your site alone was just able to see, you know, your three main buttons at the top of what people could do to participate, or your supporters could do to participate. Can you tell me a little bit about the thinking that kind of went into what you were able to pull to the forefront that you might not have been able to focus on before? So like you had the thermometer there, the donation thermometer, you were highlighting top fundraisers. Tell me a little bit more about the planning that went into that.
Sure. So, you know, and this kind of goes back to our playing around with some of the website features of being able to design a cover page on the front of DONNA Marathon Weekend's, you know, presentment for registration, you know, that would highlight that not only can you come and participate as a runner, but also choose to give to the organization or to fundraise. So, you know, the easy buttons, right? So that it's front and center. The other things that we took advantage of, matching gift challenges are a big deal in nonprofit world and fundraising. where you work with some wonderful major donors to match the donations that your runners and fundraisers are able to secure in the community. So, if somebody donates $5, that's really $10. If they donate, $20, that's really $40. And people feel really good about, my funds are going to get matched. So we were able to build a custom content page for our matching gift challenge that we were able to easily put, in the donation navigation of RunSignup with all the fundraising efforts, and just how easy it was. I mean, I don't even think that I had to do more than click a toggle button to highlight our top fundraisers, our top fundraising teams. And again, back to my point earlier, I can talk about patients all day long. I mean, I have more compelling reasons to give to the Donna Foundation than I can count. But fundamentally, when a runner is fundraising because they're participating in the event, their family and friends and loved ones are donating to that person. So being able to see the faces, of our top fundraisers, and when you donate, you can choose which fundraiser you want to donate to, and seeing their stories front and center is, again, people give to people.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I also think that's just a great way to just expand reach as well, to not just the communities that you're, like you mentioned, like your repeat runners or the supporters that have traditionally engaged year over year, but now folks are sharing their stories, and then they can reach their network of folks who can then share their stories, and so on and so forth. I think that's huge, and I'm glad you guys were able to take advantage of that.
Well, and another fun story is because the tools are so easy for fundraisers to use and set up and share their own stories and their own journeys, our PR team literally sits and looks at all of these stories to look for, compelling, stories to share with media and with the world, right? So, we would connect with some of our fundraisers and congratulate them for the work they're doing, thank them for the work they're doing, let them know that we read your story and we were over here crying. So can we please, would you be willing, to talk to, a magazine writer or a television interview? And they love it. Of course, they're willing to do it. We also did a really fun social media campaign with permission, of course, of the stories that we told, but we would amplify some of these messages in social media. And instead of saying, give to the Donna Foundation, it was give to Shelley. And we would drive people to Shelley's fundraising page to give to her. So that was a fun exercise. And because the stories are there, I mean, you can go and read them. If you ever want to feel really uplifted, just go to our race pages and look at all of these fundraiser stories. They're great.
Definitely. Great. Talk to me a little bit about some of the different donation levels that you were able to leverage. I know that's something we talk a lot about in blogs and with prospects and customers, but you guys took a strategic approach there. So tell us a little bit more about that.
We did. So, I'm sure if any of you have ever given to a nonprofit, the donation page traditionally will not just be an empty box that you fill in. There's going to be some suggested levels, $10 for this, $20 for that. So, you try to align those values to something that's really tangible. Like, for $20, we're able to help a patient get a ride to treatment. For $100, we're able to, help pay a utility bill for a patient. So aligning those figures to, something that feels very tangible. So we already do that on our traditional donation pages on the Donna Foundation's website and on, we used to have hard copy forms. We don't really do that anymore, but we already had established what those levels are. And so we emulated that in RunSignup on GiveSignup on our donation pages. So whether you're making a donation through a fundraiser or whether you're going directly to the donnafoundation.org and hitting the easy donate button, you're really seeing the same messaging. So yeah, that's what we did.
That's great. So I know, kind of fundraising in total can be pretty daunting, just with all the options and capabilities and things that you can do. You make it sound very easy when you talk about it, and which is great and hopefully inspiring to others. Could you share some advice that you have for other, others that are looking to accomplish what your organization has been able to do? Some advice that you have for them as they're getting started and trying to pull it all together. Yeah.
I would say that none of us really know what we're doing. So, don't let that stop you from jumping in and giving it a try. It's we learn every year and make changes every year and try new things, and that's sort of what makes it all fun. I will say that these tools and this platform really does give you a template, so you're not ever looking at a blank sheet of paper. There's always sort of well, by default it's going to do this, so let's try this out and see if this works, and begin to enhance from there to sort of align with who you are and what you do.
So let's talk a little bit more about tickets, because we haven't touched on that a bit yet, but you also use our ticket technology, so TicketSignup. Can you tell us how you leverage TicketSignup for your Donna Marathon weekend?
Yes. So as a part of our weekend, we have 2 VIP events. We have a reception on Friday night and we also have a finish line viewing party on Marathon Sunday. And, for us in a beach event, probably the most complicated part about that is parking. We could have used, any online Evite or whatever to get people an invitation and welcome them to these events. But when you have an event at the beach, you have to lock down the parking, and you have to get a parking pass in the hands of these guests. And so we leveraged the TicketSignup module to send out our invitations and drove all of our RSVP to the ticket sites that we set up for both of those events, and we were able to put both the RSVP to the event itself, but also allowed the guests to have one parking pass. And so we were able to work in the system to limit that to where Shelly couldn't RSVP for herself and then add 6 parking passes to her invitation to give out to all of her BFFs that didn't want to struggle for parking on race day. So that was really nice to have. I loved the dashboard components of that module so that I could see at a glance how we were doing in terms of RSVP. And then we leveraged the QR code on the parking pass component of it as a way to verify the folks coming into the lots. So back to the check-in, modules and apps, we use check-in at our VIP events on Friday and Sunday as well to check people into the event as well as to check them into the parking lots.
So you leverage that ticket app for the check-in piece. Awesome. And that went smoothly. Sounds like it went well.
Smoothly as parking at the beach can go, yes. Once I dealt with the security officer that wouldn't let me into the parking lot when I first got there. We were all good from there. The other note about the ticketing app is that we were able to do both our invited guests, but we also allocate a certain number of tickets that we sell. So we were able to sort of have this hybrid, approach to where there's some revenue coming in as well, which is nice.
Awesome, great. And it sounds like you were also able to use the ticket app for merchandise sales for the expo too. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh my goodness. It really has sounded like for all of this podcast that I really know what I'm doing, right? And that I have everything together and planned well ahead of time. It was like a week before the event, and I'm thinking, oh no, we used former platform to handle our merchandise. And I don't know, it just was not something that hit my radar. It should have. It was a ball I nearly dropped. But so, you know, I reached out to you all in sort of a panic to say, can you help us with on-site merchandise sales? And can we do this quickly? And oh, by the way, can you please send someone from your team? Because I don't trust that this is going to get done well unless I have an extension of me. Because I knew how it was all functioning and working, but I am one person and typically running around doing a million other things. So happily, your team came to our event and helped us set up not only the bib check-in, but also handling our on-site merchandise sales through the platform as well. And it was, you know, it was great. It was beautiful. We sold, you know, we met our goals for merchandise sales for the weekend, and we're getting ready to take what we set up for on-site merchandise sales. We are in the process of converting that into a web online sales so that we can start selling some things online too.
Yes, there, Amanda, is there anything that you'd like to maybe just share with others that, you know, say they're just coming on to RunSignup? Like, I mean, because your event is a little bit more established, more, you know, there's a lot of different components. So you kind of knew where to get, oh, I need help with this and this and that. And, but is there like recommendations, like, you know, if someone was getting started, make sure to use this, you know, kind of thing.
You know, the race wizard is your friend, right? You get through the race wizard and you're pretty much ready to go. From there, it's just how do you want to tweak it to work best to your team and what your goals are. And then if you're curious if the system can do something, the search bar at the top of that menu navigation is your best friend. Put whatever word you want to in that search bar and you'll find what you're looking for.
Love you saying that, because I use that myself. I love the search bar. So just hearing that from a customer is great. It's doing what it's meant to do.
Is your friend. And really the team is also incredibly helpful. I mean, you guys have so much in the way of resources out there, you know, for help. As a recovering technical writer, I very much appreciate things that are out there for me to study on my own and written documentation. And you guys have a lot of that rich content out there with video and instruction. But at the end of the day, too, you're not dealing with a you know, insert very large technology company here, where if you try to reach a human being, that you can never reach a human being. Your staff has been so responsive and helpful, and proactively so. It hasn't just been when I've needed something and reached out and gotten a response, but, you know, as you get closer to the event, it's the team reaching out to you and saying, hey, I know your event's in a few weeks. Is there anything, is there anything outstanding, anything that we can help you with? Or, hey, I noticed that you haven't set up A, B, and C yet. Or, you know, it's a team. It's an extension of your team, and I think that's really valuable to race directors.
Great. Well, thank you, Amanda. I appreciate you taking the time to share everything, and it's really good information for others, and especially like the new people getting into the industry. It's like, quite frankly, a lot of them, you know, this is just a one-time thing that they do, so they really don't know what, you know, all the tools or what to do and what steps to take. So it's very helpful to share with others. So,
good.
Thank you so much. This has been great.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Stay tuned.
It's great to meet you.
Good to meet you as well. Have a great day.